Hi everyone, welcome back to Plum Mashable. So for today's video I'm going to be making a new dashboard using the Planners Anonymous Rejuvenate kit. So let's go ahead and get to it. Alright, so I thought about doing a card with this. You could very easily change this design to be a card if you wanted to. But I've decided to do a dashboard. I haven't done a dashboard for a really long time. And I would like a new one in my new planner setup, which I will share with you very, very soon. So I'm going to use the Rejuvenate kit, and I'm going to bring in just a little bit of Dusty Concord Oxide ink, because I'm going to use that for one of the parts of it. Now, I want to experiment with something. I want to see if it works before I commit to it. So we'll just have to wait and see. I'm going to start with this washi tape, and this is a little bit of the experiment. I want to cut a rectangle. These are the Uniquely Creative nesting rectangles, and I want to have, not needs to be this one, I thought it did. I want to have, like, the background's going to be inked, I think, and then I'm going to have this panel in the middle that's going to have this washi tape. Now the paper that is included that sort of repeats this is really pretty, but I just love the depth that you get with the washi tape, and I love the silver foil. So what I'm going to do is just with a pencil, I'm just going to mark, there we go, that's easier. Actually, I'm going to cut it. I'm going to cut it so that I have roughly the right amount, but I'm not going to cut the rectangle out yet, because I want the stitching detail on top of the washi tape. I hope that makes sense. When I'm concentrating, I can't talk. Now this is just a tinsy-wincy little trick when you have washi tape that you want to get lined up. I'm just adhering mine with just a little bit of glue tape to the to my glass mat, and that way I can use this as a lining up point with my mat. So I'm just popping that down. And there will be some wastage here, so I'm not even going to pretend that it's going to be perfect, because it's not. And I'm just going to tessellate this. So there's going to be some over, it'll overlap, that's the word I wanted. It will overlap in some places, because I want this to sort of be the, there's a little, I'm trying to get words. There is a small amount of white on top and bottom of the images, so I'm just overlapping those so that I only get one space of white instead of two. Whew, I got there. And then I'm just keeping an eye on where the images are and just trying to not have them all in the same, so not have the repeat too often. So if it's repeating too much sort of where I am, I'll just move it down. And I'm just trying to keep it in the half. That first one was really the only one you need to really pay attention to lining it up, because these next lot are actually really easy. So it's just another example of what you can do with washi tape. I feel like we all do it. We all sort of just do washi tape as you know, that thing on the bottom of our page. But it is beautiful for making backgrounds, and when you've got gorgeous colours like this with the purples and the blues and the greens, it's just stunning. Once I've done this one, I'm just going to see if that'll fit. Yeah, cool. Excellent. So you've got two choices with this next bit. You can either leave the washi on the edges, you can fold them over, you can cut them off. I'm just going to fold them over because it's not going to make a difference. And I'm just going to try and make sure. The only one I am going to cut is just this one here on the bottom, because it does overhang. And I don't need to be particularly careful with it, because it's going to get cut off anyway, so it won't matter. So I'm just going to pull these back. Doesn't matter if these aren't straight. We're just getting them out of the way. This is what I was saying about the wastage. If you wanted to cut those off so you could use them, you definitely could. But I'm fine with this. Still have a bit of a froggy in my throat. Okay. So then I'm going to pop this on. And ironically, use another bit of washi tape. And while I'm here, I'm just going to use the one that I've got. And I'm just lining this up so that I know it's straight. It doesn't, because I don't actually think my full panel is perfectly straight. I think I got a little bit off kilter somewhere, and that's okay. It's not horribly noticeable. But I'm just popping that where I want it, and then I'm just going to hold that down with a little bit more tape. And then I'm going to run this through my die cut machine very quickly. Just making sure it's cut properly, which it has, I think. Because this is obviously like rows of washi tape and cardstock, it's a little thicker, so I just want to make sure that it's cut through, which it seems to have done. Just one little bit. And then I'm just going to grab... Oh, no, I did do it, sorry. I'm just going to grab my sanding tool just to knock off any of the rough kind of edges. Just so it's nice and smooth. I just love the finish on this. It doesn't have this, it just looks different to if you'd use the paper. It's got a depth to it that the paper just doesn't have. And that's nothing on the paper, it's just the way washi tape sits. Alright, so there's that. And that's going to sit on either my front or my back panel. I haven't actually decided yet. I'm just going to grab I keep lots of pieces of Planners Anonymous paper in my planner. And I'm just making sure that these are right, which they are. I do also have a hole punch that will punch all of these. Actually, yeah, I probably should use that. I forget that I've got this one now. I keep thinking that I've still got the We Are Memory Keepers one, and it's not that one. But I will double check this on a bit of scrap paper before I punch my cardstock, because I want my cardstock to be right. Just double check. Yeah, see, I didn't think it was right. The good thing is I haven't yet decided which way's going front and which way's going back, so it'll work. Alright, so for the ink blending side, I'm going to grab Dusty Concord. It's just a little bit darker than Shaded Lilac, which you'd think would be the one that would go with this kit, but it's not. And what I'm going to do is I just want to do some blending around the edges, and I want it to fade into white. So I'm going as light-handed as I can here. I'm starting off dark around the corners, and then I'm fading into the middle, because I want there to be a little bit of lightness before you hit this panel. So I'm just doing the edges first, and I am trying to stay light. It doesn't matter if I get ink on the back, because I'm going to cover that with paper anyway, so it doesn't matter. And then once there's not as much on my brush, that's when I'm coming in to sort of blend it into the nothing. So you can kind of see that it's working there because there's not a lot on my brush. And then I'll come back with a bit more and come back to the edge and then repeat. I'm just seeing where that's going to sit. Alright, there we go. And then I'm not going to mess up any of this. I'm going to leave it because I'm going to put some splatters on in a second. But I just want to put a little bit of stamping. The stamping is one of those things, the stamps are one of those things that unless you make the effort to use them are something that can go very unused in the PA kits. Which I actually think is really sad because they're generally very pretty. And so I'm going in with the itty bitty lilac stamp, and I'm just going to pop them around. I don't know why I did that. And I'm just rotating them so that I don't end up with the same shape every time. And I'm making sure I come off the edge. I don't want to do too many. I don't want this to be a fully covered background. Yep, that's fine. I don't want to do too many because I'm going to add in a bit of extra texture here with some splatter because you guys know me. So I'm going to start off with just some water. So this is going to oxidize all of this stuff. Just let it sit for a sec. And then once I'm sort of happy with how long it's been sitting there, I'll just pick up the excess with paper towel. I'm actually going to do just a little bit again because I really love that. That's really pretty. It's just a little bit more. I'm doing really little mists because I don't want the splatters to be too big. I really like that very small little splatter. Part of me is also wanting to put some white, but I'm not going to. And then just using what's already here on my mat. So I'm not putting any more ink down. I'm just using what was here. I'm going to put some little purple splatters as well. I'm using a fan brush for this. I have seen people on YouTube use fan brushes for splatters, and it just gives a really, really fine little splattering. So I'm just using that because I really don't want anything too big. Now this isn't, oh yeah, no, it is working. I'm just being impatient. But I do still want a slightly bigger splatter. I don't. It's just not quite enough for me. And sadly, neither is all my ink. I really thought I'd have enough there. Good thing is this is giving a little bit of extra depth. Because these ones are slightly darker because I'm using more concentrated ink. Okay. So I'm just getting a little cup of water to put my brushes in. The fan brush doesn't ever seem to do as well when I just do the edge, so I'm just popping both of them in there. I'm just going to really quickly clean this up, hit this with the heat tool, and then we'll go back to the next bit. Just picking up anything that's still a little bit wet. Don't you just love how you can create that with one colour? That's just, oh, so good. Alright, and then what I need to just decide now is if I want to have this on the back and my other one on the front, or if I want to have it the other way. I love how dirty they get. I'm thinking this on the back and then my other one on the front. So let's go with that. I'm just, if I keep thinking about it, it's not going to work. I'm going to overthink it. So on the front, I want to put this gorgeous piece of paper, and then I want to grab the bathtub die cut, and then there's two little die cuts of like tarot cards. And my thought is that I'm going to have it so that these sort of sit in there. Part of me is now thinking that I want to put something in the middle. Just have a look here. I really didn't think that was going to work out the way it did because I wanted it to be the other way. I actually really love that. So I'm going to make this the front with this and put my die cut there, and I'm just going to stick the paper on the back. I'm not actually even going to do anything on the back. I'm just deciding if I do want that lavender one or if I want this lavender one. I want the dark one. I thought I did. I honestly thought I did. Alright, well, I'm going to do the front first because I want that to be right. So I'm grabbing that bathtub die cut. It just fits beautifully there, doesn't it? And then I've got the two little tarot cards. There is also a little set of 3 which would also work. I just like the sentiment on the back of this one that says you are loved. Actually, I really like those two. No, I can't have all of them. I can't have all of them, and I like the you are loved, so I'm going with that. But I want that to be... Let's do that instead. I was originally going to do just the backing on backing, but I'm going to put them both this way. And to do that, I'm going to add a little bit more Dusty Concord to another piece of cardstock. I'm basically going to recreate what I just did, but just on a smaller scale so that I can put them on the back of these. So I'm just going to go around the edge. Actually, I probably should do this that way, shouldn't I? Alright. That way I can actually do the darkness and the lightness. So these die cuts now have sticky bits on the back, which I just adore. Makes it so much easier. So I'm just going to pop that one there. And this one on the other side. And I'm just going to cut them out using my scissors. Because they are reasonably, you know, heavy duty die cuts, you can get away with just running around the outside of them. Obviously still be careful, you can cut through them, but if you're paying attention and you're just working around, you'll be fine. So just while I'm inking these up, I'm sure someone's going to ask, so why didn't I just ink on the paper that was on the back? So that release paper isn't great for inking. It does work, but it's not fabulous. It doesn't take the ink as nicely, take the oxide in this case, as nicely as regular cardstock does. So that's why I just backed it onto something else. Oh. I was really worried there that I was getting ink on the front, but I didn't. Whew. So I'm just going to put a little bit of that splatter again. I'm going to do the two-stage splatter. Whoa! With the really small... Oh, I forgot to do the water. That's all right, I can do it after. Actually, I'm just going to leave it just as this. It actually looks really pretty. And I'll hit this with some water in a second as well. Just want to get them up off the... off the mat so they're out of the way of the ink, which I still did get some on the back. I knew I would. But anyway, I'm actually not going to hit it with water. I think they're fine the way they are. And I'm not even going to hit them with the heat tool. I'm just going to pick up any of the excess now, just with paper towel, because that actually looks really good. Somehow it's picked up some extra spots of water while I was doing that, which is just awesome. Okay. So I've got my little cards. We're going to stick this bit down flat. Now, because I was silly, and yes, I was silly, and I folded the washi tape over. It's not going to stick as well using my glue tape, so I'm just using double-sided tape. I don't know why or how, but it does seem to adhere better when I've got washi tape involved, so I always just use double-sided when I'm sticking with washi tape. to do is I need to work out where I want the cards to sit, which is just there like that. So I'm going to use a little bit of that washi tape just to hold that still. And then I can put the foam tape around that so that way they can slide in really easily. I'm just seeing, no, that's fine. I thought maybe that my foam tape was a little bit not quite thick enough, but it's fine. So I'm leaving room because I don't want it to be a snug fit. I don't want it to be perfectly snug in there. I want them to be able to wiggle just a little bit. So once those ones are in, you can pick up that washi tape gently, gently. Made a bit of a mess, but that's okay. No one will notice it but me. I'll fix it in a sec. And then I'm actually bending that foam tape just a little bit so that it's got a bit of a curve. And that way it'll sit there. Now I just pulled a little bit of paper off. So I'm just adding a little bit more ink. And then you won't notice it. Okay, moment of truth. I'm doing it again. So I'm popping that just so the claws of the bath are just sitting off. Actually, no, I'm just going to come down just a little. No, I like that. I like just so the bottom of the bath is just hitting the bottom of the rectangle. Just trying to make it straight. Okay. And then I can put these two in. They do both fit. Probably a little bit snugger than I wanted, but one fits in there beautifully. It's just when you try and put two. Okay, so it's a little bit more snug than I wanted. So what I'm going to do is pull this up. I'm just getting my tweezers in underneath, so I don't want to bend the die cut. Because this is coming up of washi paper, you know, there's all this fortuitous stuff that I did. And I'm just going to double this up. I don't want it as thick as, I don't have a skinny foam tape that's thicker. And I need the thinness of, as in the narrowness, not the thickness. And I've just had another thought too, which I'm going to do in a sec. I'm going to stick the back on before I pop this on, just so that I can make sure I get it adhered. Because once this is on, obviously it's going to be a little bit of extra something to work with. So we'll do that. So I'm just popping that there as a test now. That's better. Just double up the foam. Okay. So then I'm going to cover the whole of the back here. I'm just making sure that's clean, which it is. Cover the whole of the back here with glue tape. You can obviously use liquid glue or more of that double-sided tape if you want to. It's whatever you feel comfortable with. Pop this down. Now, if you're someone that struggles with edges, remember you can use your Misty or your scoreboard or anything else that you can find a corner. I'm not so worried with this one because I can do one edge and then just trim off the excess, so I do that anyway. And I just like to rub my finger along the edge of that one because it sometimes has a little bit of glue hanging out the back. That gets rid of that. And then I like to cut a little bit more and then come in because it's just easier once you've got the edges to follow. Go. And one more. Okay. Now I'm just doing that same trick again. I'm just running my finger along all the edges just to make sure that there's no glue hanging out. Just because it's easier with this one, I'm just going to punch the holes with my single hole punch, and that's just because I don't want to accidentally not quite line this up right. I could have been sort of a bit clever about it and done them all at the same time when I was finished, but I like to have the hole sometimes to be able to guide where I line things up. So a lot of the time if I've got holes on here, I like to actually move this over just a little bit so that it's in the center of my area, not necessarily just the center of my page. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's my little weird thing. Alright, so let's put this little bathtub back in the same spot it was before. And I'm going to pop in my little cards. Now, do you need to do the interactive cards? No. No. You can leave it exactly the way it is if you want to. You can stick these down permanently and have them sitting up there like that. I just think it's kind of cool when things move. It's just a me thing. I'm a bit crazy. I also want to just check. Those ones actually fit in there really beautifully as well. So if you wanted to do all 5, you could. If you wanted to just do 4 of them, you could. I actually really like the way all 5 of them sit in there. I'm going to leave all 5. And I think that's the project done. I'm just looking at it going, okay, does it need something else? Does it need some more die cuts? No. Does it need some more stamps? No. Does it need washi tape? I don't think so. I think that's exactly what I want. I do want to just round the corners off. I want a big, this is my new corner rounder. I finally caved. I've been doing corners either with, oh bugger, sorry, I thought I broke it. Either with my scoreboard, not my scoreboard, my punch boards, or just by hand forever. And I finally decided, no, I need a corner rounder. So I'm just doing the ones on this outside edge. I won't do the ones in the middle, or the ones on this side, because I like the way they sit there like that. And then I'm just going to pop this in my planner. It's just falling apart right now. So I'm just going to pop this into January. Just for now. I just love the way that looks. Actually, I was going to say actually. But I just love the way that looks. It's something that maybe I'll do a little bit more of this year. I don't know. I don't know how much you guys like dashboards and stuff. I like making them. But I obviously don't want to do something that's too boring, which is why I try and do, you know, things that move or things that interact or something. But I like having each month have its own little page. I don't know why I do. I just do. I think it's a nice little intro to the month. And it gives something really pretty for my dividers to look through. But you guys might not enjoy that, so let me know. But that is my little dashboard using the Rejuvenate kit from PA. This could be really easily changed into a card front. You could do the same thing and you could put the sentiment at the top there. It would actually look really pretty, and I probably will make a card using especially the washi tape trick. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I just didn't want to do it because I'm doing a card for you on Friday. So I didn't want to do 2 cards in 1 week because that was going a little bit too far. But let me know what you think about this one. You can obviously give it a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, and leave me a comment down below or on any of my socials. They're all listed for you as well. All the products that I've used will also be in the description box. So if you want to check anything out, you can do so down there. I hope you guys have an absolutely awesome rest of your day, and I will catch you again in my next video. Sending lots of huggles. Bye!